You are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 3. Chill!
Yes, hello everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gym of RPG and a Premier Boy Podcast. Welcome to another new episode of Gym Like the Podcast. Hope all is well. On an episode with a special guest. And I got this brother come on the show. He got a podcast show called Beautiful Feet Podcast, and we're gonna talk to him about his brand and about wrestling. You know, because not only that he's a fan, I'm a big fan of wrestling. You know, WWE, NXT, Impact, AEW, somewhat. But yeah, so y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, I'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Chewy, host of Screaming Chewy Show. And hey, what is this you're listening to right now with very inspirational content and music? Amazing. You're listening to the Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at the time, I will be giving y'all the Mr. Gym Fact quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, God is love. And what I mean by that is, no matter what you did, God will always love you. Always have God in your heart. And God is love. God spread love to everybody. And he definitely loves us. So always remember that. And that today, Mr. Gym Fact quote of the day.
Hello everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, and I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Off Series Thursdays, where we have all of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Riding Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com. And tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheers!
This is Anthony from the Beautiful Feet Podcast, and you're listening to the Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to this amazing show. Enjoy.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I have a special guest. He is my brother from Christ. He is a part of the Korah family. He have a podcast show called The Beautiful Feet Podcast. We have Anthony in the building. How you doing?
Hey man, how you doing?
Yes, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on, man.
You know, anytime. Welcome to the show. And we're gonna start off with, where are you from? Because so my listeners can know.
Of course. So originally I was born in California, but I moved to Arizona when I was about 10. So I've been in Arizona ever since. So yeah, I'm basically born in California, but I basically was raised in Arizona.
Okay, nice. So if you could describe yourself in one word, what would that word be and why?
See, I don't know. That's a tough one. Honestly, my wife always says, the word that she would describe me as is steadfast, because like my faith is what holds me steady, and I don't really waver from that. So, you know what I mean? Like that would be my response.
Okay, nice. So we're gonna talk about your podcast show in a few, but what inspired you to start a podcast?
I always felt like I had a lot to say and like a lot to share. So first of all, I started my website because I was like, I love to write, I love creating stories, or I love creating poetry. So there's that, and then and that's beautifulfeetentertainment.com. But going from there, I was like, man, I started listening to the podcast on my own, and I just loved the way you can express behind it, right? So I was like, okay, this is cool. I want to go ahead and give it a shot. So what I used to do on my website was on my phone, I would record small snippets of a story or a poem or a Bible study or something to that nature, and kind of throw it on the website. And once I found out there was a way to build your own podcast, like without paying a bunch of money or whatever, I jumped on board, and I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot and see how I like it. And man, it's been going since November, I believe, is when I started mine. So I love it. You know what I mean? It's a great thing to jump into.
Nice. Because I'm kind of the same way. Cause I like to write and do poetry as well, and kind of the same thing. Like after podcast costs a lot of money, and then I found the opportunity to start as well, and that's how I became doing the same thing. So now we're gonna talk about your show, the Beautiful Feet Podcast. Tell us about the podcast show and what made you name the show the Beautiful Feet.
Well, for me, like I said, I have the website Beautiful Feet Entertainment. So for me, it was just a natural, hey, I'm gonna marry these two together. So you can find my website, you can find my podcast on the website. And the name Beautiful Feet actually comes from a Bible verse, and that Bible verse is Romans 10:15, and basically like says, and and how can anyone preach unless they are sent? Is it written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news? And since my whole point was to kind of bring hope to people, and when things get difficult, but do it in creative ways, I wanted to be the beautiful feet that talks about in that verse. So I'm not trying to overly preach to anyone. I'm simply trying to like, hey, you're going through some stuff. I have hope for you, and I'm going to express it in the best way that I can. And you can accept it or do whatever you wish. So, that's kind of where the name came from. And I also thought, it's a unique name because you're not going to hear it a lot. And when you do hear it, honestly, let's be honest, it's going to sound like you have more of a negative connotation than a positive. So I'm trying to get you to think about it in a different way as well. So that's why I loved that name. I was like, okay.
Okay, nice. And I listen to your podcast on the daily, and you and your wife are doing a major job in the show. Keep it up. And tell our listeners where they can listen to your show.
Oh yeah. First of all, I appreciate your support. You know what I mean? But yeah, you can jump on beautifulfeetentertainment.com. There's an actual tab that has, the newest episodes on there. It doesn't have every episode, but it has all the newest ones. And so you have it on there. You can get it on Apple. You can get it on Spotify. You can get it on the Anchor, website. I mean, you can get it almost anywhere you get podcasts. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, I'm like I said, I was so excited when not only did I start the podcast, but I was excited when it kind of started getting on every site that it could. And then when my wife jumped on board, because I actually started the podcast by myself. I think I did, I want to say 4 or 5 episodes, 6 episodes. And she was on 1 episode, and I thought that's all we were going to do. And I just brought her back on the next episode, and she was like, dude, I enjoy doing this. So we just kept doing it. And yeah, I mean, and we try to do a bunch of different stuff. We don't want to just stick to one formula, but we try to do a bunch of different stuff. So
okay, nice. Keep it up, y'all. And also, I noticed that y'all do Bible verses on the show. What made y'all want to add that to the podcast show?
Of course. So like I said, our faith is that's one of the things that brought us together, right? Like, we were brought together by the art of writing and bringing stories to life, and also our faith. We've always known each other as in the church context, and we've always both loved not only going to church but being involved in the church. And so and like I said a little earlier, I've always wanted to help people. I've always felt a need to kind of, if I'm going to put stuff out there, I want to put stuff out there that gives people hope, not pulls them away from hope. And so that was my thing. Felt like we need to put that at the forefront, because if you're able to put that at the forefront, it just allows people to, one, know who we are, but at the same time, hopefully explore their faith on their own. So.
Okay, nice. So when did you give your life to God?
Oh, okay. So yeah. Well, it all started obviously on the day I was born, because I was actually, my mom, she early in her pregnancy, she had a lot of complications. And so I didn't grow up in the church, but she was like, I'm about to lose this baby. I'll kind of do what needs to be done. So they I guess focused on praying and just kind of trying to keep a positive attitude through it all, because I was not supposed to make it out of there. I actually, I was born in early October. I didn't get to go home until the end of October or after, because I was born prematurely, and just there was a lot going on. Now fast forward to my early adult years. I was 18, 19 years old. I was going to college away from home. And like I said, I didn't grow up in the church. I didn't know really anyone who did. I grew up kind of I always say the opposite. So I have family members who are addicts, who drug addicts, alcoholics. I have family members who have either been homeless or, still to this day struggle with keeping a job because of stuff in their past. And, and some of them are like my mom and dad, like they're directly associated with me. And so, when I went up to college, not only do I have a very strict no drugs and alcohol policy for me, but I was going, my dad was really, to be honest with you, he was really involved with his alcoholism. And so I was up in college away from my siblings, who I've been kind of protecting for years because I have younger siblings, and I had nothing, I couldn't do anything. And I was hearing stories from home of, him coming home, drunk or getting upset about some stuff or having health issues because of, he was not taking care of his body. He was having heart attacks and things like that. And so I was just at that point, I was like, I have no one to rely on but God. And so I started getting connected with a campus ministry at my school. And I started connecting with people, and God just spoke to me. It wasn't even like, oh, it just made sense. And it became real because I was like, my friends were guiding me through it, but I knew God was speaking to me directly, like guiding me through it, because, I was like, I have no one to depend on but God. Like, I can't fix this myself. My dad's struggling. My mom has always struggled with her addictions, and so I was like, I'm gonna not just go the other way, but I'm really, I need God. Like that was it. So
yeah, that was deep. That was deep. And I'm not gonna lie, recently I just gave my life to God myself recently. Well, gave my life back to God recently, during this whole pandemic, and a lot was going on. But I'm happy that I made the right decision. Happy you did make the right decision as well. Keep doing your thing, keep believing in your faith.
Absolutely.
All right, with all that going on, speaking of pandemic, with all that going on with the pandemic, police brutality, racism, and injustice in America right now, how do you feel about that?
All right, let's open up this can of worms. No, we're good. So I'm gonna start with the pandemic because that kind of hit first, right? Like, So for me, going back to my faith, right? Like, when I'm involved in my faith, I'm involved in the church, right? So what I mean by that is, like, right now I'm helping with youth ministries and junior high boys. I'm helping with baptizing people, blah, at my church, right? I'm part of the production team. I'm basically putting my hands as in as many cookie jars as I can, just trying to help it, in any way that I can. Then the pandemic hit, so everything came to a screeching halt. I couldn't do anything. Now, by God's grace, I'm still working. I'm still going to work on a regular basis. I have not had to take time off. I have not had to be self-quarantined or anything of that nature. So it's been rough at times, knowing that my neighbor down the way, hasn't been working because they were, a cook at a restaurant or whatever, knowing that, that they're looking around going, I don't know how I'm gonna pay rent or whatever. So that's been difficult, but I've just been trying to focus my attention on what I can do, right? Like, so, okay, I can't go out and help people at the church physically, but what I can do is I could pray for people. I could put together a podcast that hopefully people are listening to even just for that hour or whatever, however long the episode is, and just either get, seek hope or be entertained or just forget about it for, that hour. I could put stuff on the website that, directs people to God, but again, not preaching, just simply, hey, there's still hope. You know what I mean? So, and I can go to work and do my best and guide my team the best I can. So I'm focusing on what I can do. Now going further with, the social injustice and everything going on with the rallies and that had me shook because, and I did an episode on it because I was so impacted. One, because I didn't even, I have a lot I grew up with a lot of people of color, of different, ethnicities or whatever, but I never considered on a daily kind of what happens and what goes on. But at the same time, it just kind of shook me because I was like, wait a minute, I've had my head in the sand for a long time. Like, I've always heard stories, but it's literally been like, oh, it's not a problem as much anymore. And even with, this has been going on for years where somebody will die due to, looking like they're in the wrong neighborhood or whatever. And for some reason I would go, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. And that was it. This time around, it hit me differently. Probably because I just put up more time into researching it, and I just instead of just ignoring it, I actually watched the video and saw how the dude was like, helpless, like just laying there, and this police officer, just whatever, not really caring, not showing any compassion or whatever. And I was like, why would you do that? And so, like I said, it just shook me, but I'm like, okay, now is my time. I'm not gonna remain the same. I'm gonna go ahead and read up on it more. I'm gonna go ahead and learn the history of what's going on, and that way, when as I get older, I can change my atmosphere, right? I could change the way I look at these situations. I could change the way if I have any kids, I could change the way they see the situation and have them be more involved later on. You know what I mean? Like, but I need to know the history first. So so that, I still thumb through Instagram, Twitter, and different social media, and I'm still blown away of how much I was missing because I to be honest with you, just because I was able to keep my head in the sand. You know what I mean? So, and I talked to a friend of mine who, African American, and I just go, how are you doing? And he was just like, yo, I don't know how to process this. You know what I mean? Like, and so I felt for him. I haven't really talked to him too much about it because I wanted to give him his space for a minute, because I could tell he was shook. But I was like, okay, because I know I'm gonna go back, when the time is right, and go, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? So but it blew me away to sit there and go, oh, I've been ignoring this for way too long. So
and I'm not gonna lie, this was a really hard topic to talk about, but I do appreciate your opinion on it. And the fact, like anything, like one day at a time, like anything, as long as like one day at a time. I appreciate you for acknowledging it, man. So thank you for that. So let's take it up on a lighter note, and talk, and change up the topic a little bit. So we're gonna talk about wrestling. Are you a fan of wrestling, by the way?
I have been a fan of wrestling majority of my life. Like, so yes, 100%. I try to keep up with as much as possible.
Okay, nice. So when did you first start watching wrestling?
I started watching wrestling when everybody started watching wrestling when they were kids, right? Like I can't think of I have had more conversation around wrestling with complete strangers, right? Like simply because I'll wear a wrestling shirt to work, or I'll wear a wrestling shirt out, get lunch or whatever. And I have grown men in their 50s going, man, when I was a boy, I remember yada yada yada. And so I started watching when I was a kid, and because my older brother watched, and I believe my uncle did too. Like, you know what I mean? So, and so I started watching as a kid. I kept up with it all the way till I would say probably beginning of college. And the reason why I stopped in college was, one, my dorm room did not have cable, so like, I couldn't hunt down to find it. It wasn't like nowadays where you can jump on YouTube and be like, hey, let's find clips of what's going on. Even though college wasn't that long ago, like they did not have a WWE YouTube channel. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, true.
So you really would have had to like search for it, and I didn't have any friends in college who really watched wrestling, so I couldn't keep up. So I kind of fell away for a little bit, partially by choice, just because I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on college. I moved away from home. But anyway, and out of nowhere, the same friend that I was talking about, about the Black Lives Matter things, I was hanging out with him, and he's like, hey, yo, I'm gonna go over to so-and-so's house to watch some wrestling. You want to go? Yeah, and it was funny because we went over there, and I think literally my first taste back into wrestling was WrestleMania, which as a kid, I never got to watch WrestleMania or any other pay-per-view because they were pay-per-view and I was broke. Like my family was not putting $50-$60 toward WrestleMania because we needed to keep the lights on. You know what I mean? Like there was no.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
So I was stoked. I'm like, I've never seen a WrestleMania, and that was the first taste back. I don't remember which Mania it was. I wish I could. But yeah, and it's funny because that friend whose house we went to, we watched Mania, and then him and I clicked. And next thing you know, I was over because I met him, and when I was in college, he just had an apartment, and he had cable or whatever. So I would walk to his house every Monday, watch Raw, walk home, and it wasn't a right down the street. It was a probably 35-40 minute walk at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So, because I'm watching it live, you know what I mean? Like I'm going straight from. We used to meet at the campus ministry, which had a meeting on Monday nights, and he would record Raw. So, because we would miss the first hour or whatever. We would both walk to his apartment, watch Raw, and then I would walk back. Which again, it was close to from his apartment to my dorm or wherever I lived. It was almost a 45-minute walk. So. I was like, and of course I had school the next morning, 8 a.m. or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. I'll be tired. It's cool. I'm watching wrestling. And I just fell in love with it all over again.
You're not the only one, because that happened to me as well. Like one year, I was watching it, and I stopped for like a good 2 years. I believe that was like either 29 and 2010. Then out of nowhere, because I didn't have cable either, because I couldn't really watch on Raw, but I could always watch SmackDown, because SmackDown was on like the network TV at the time.
It was on UPN.
Yeah, UPN. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, and then they moved SmackDown to USA. I think either USA or Sci-Fi, one of them. They moved it to.
It went to both at one point in time. It was it was. I think it went from UPN to Sci-Fi, and it was there for a while. Eventually, I think it got moved to I think USA or whatever.
Yeah. Then I missed it for a while, and then one day I ended up getting cable. So I was like, let me watch Raw. And I think I remember the first episode of Raw. I think that I watched again was when John Cena got beat up by Nexus. When he got jumped by Nexus, that was the first time I started watching. They go, oh man, so yeah, I know the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So who was your favorite wrestler? Give me a legend and give me a current.
Oh my Gosh, come on. Okay, this is difficult, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it this way. So, legend, the hands down, I can't think of anyone else but the Undertaker. And here's why. Because, you know, being a young kid when he first came out, right? I would watch wrestling with my brother, but if I remember correctly, wrestling, like the first hour was very kid friendly. Yeah. And then after about 9 o'clock, it got a little darker. Not much, it's still the early 90s. It's not much. But the Undertaker was always on the second half. Yeah. And of course my mom would be like, "Hey, you got to go to bed. It's time to go." And I was like, "Man," and I remember vividly, right? Like, and it's weird to say Undertaker as a legend only because he's still kind of wrestling. Yeah. Usually when you think of legends, you think of, oh, dude hasn't wrestled in whatever, how many years. But anyway, so I used to go to bed, but I could still hear, I would keep the TV on, or not the TV, but the door open because my brother would still be watching because he was older than I was. And I would go to bed and not fall asleep until I heard The Undertaker, right? The whole, Paul Bear and the whole thing. And I loved it. And sometimes it got like, I was like, man, this sounds like it's cool. Like what's going on is awesome. So there's that, right? So I'm a huge Undertaker fan. When he had his match with at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns, and he did the whole taking off the coat, taking off the hat, putting them. My girlfriend, who's now my wife, was with me, and she was like, "Yo, you were like drops away from crying." I was like, because she does not like wrestling. I was like, you have no idea. You have no idea, like, not only how big this is for me, but how big this is for the wrestling industry. Like, it's huge. And when that dude finally retires, which it seems like it's coming, I'm gonna be a blubbering mess. It's gonna be horrible. So there's The Undertaker. I've always loved The Rock. He's always been one of my favorites.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one.
Yeah, I've always loved like Jeff Hardy. I mean, the Hardy Boys in general, but Jeff Hardy was my favorite of the two. Yeah. Which now I'm actually liking Matt Hardy way more. So there's that. Now, current rosters, man, like there's Velveteen Dream, who I'm a huge fan of. I did. Okay, so my thing with Velveteen was I remember watching Tough Enough. And him being on it, and he was the dude that I was like, I'm putting my chips on him because he knew the history of wrestling. Like there were people that season who, what's your favorite match? What are you talking about? What? I've never watched wrestling, so what are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? Or they would know like, oh, my favorite match is Hogan and Andre. That's everybody's favorite match. Give me another one. You know what I mean? Like, whereas Patrick, that dude was, he could tell you stuff that happened in 1975, and you're like, dude, you're 20 some years. How do you know? But anyway, but when he started as Velveteen Dream, when he first debuted, I was like, okay, I'm happy for him, but I don't like this character. It was something about it I just didn't like. But as he developed it, I was like, okay, this dude is gold. Like, you cannot. So Velveteen is probably one of my favorites. I'm always waiting to see what he's gonna do. I'm a big fan of Becky Lynch, even though she's taking some time off, but I'm very happy for that. And so let's see who else we got. Those are probably, John Moxley on AEW. I do watch AEW. I'm not that partial. I love the WWE. It will always be my my bread and butter when it comes to wrestling. But you can't hate on somebody who's like, hey, we're gonna kind of do our own thing. I'm sure we're gonna talk about that. So we'll get to that. We will get into that. Because I know people who will not not watch AEW simply because it's not WWE. And I'm like, okay, you do you. I'm gonna watch both. So you know, I am not gonna sit there and leave good wrestling out there because oh well, you know, it's not WWE. So yeah, so those are some of my favorites. I'm sure I'm missing a handful of others, but you know.
See, I know for me, for Legends, you know, of course, Ric Flair is one of my favorite for Legends. The Rock, of course, too. I like the Undertaker as well. I like the Undertaker, but current is kind of hard to pick. It's just too much for current.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do like Becky Lynch. I do like who else? Roman Reigns. I mean, half and half. Yeah, I do like Seth Rollins. It's a handful of people I like.
I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so being a Christian and watching Seth Rollins be the Monday Night Messiah, I'm sure there are a bunch of people of faith, if they're watching, who are upset. I love every minute of it. I think it's great because he's not mocking God. He's not, you know. I think it's hilarious. So I'm not even gonna sit there and say I hate it. I love it. I think it's great. So, you know, I just again had to clear the air on that one because I guarantee there's people who are upset.
Yeah, I know, and I know he plays a good heel. He plays a really good heel. That's why I like Seth Rollins. He plays a good heel, especially at that role.
Fantastic.
Yeah, very fantastic. So now here's the question. Which show is your favorite wrestling program? You know, the WWE, NXT, AEW, Impact, if you watch, or New Japan, or etc.
Yeah. So right now, it's definitely NXT. It's been NXT for a long time.
Yeah.
Again, I try to watch as much as I can. AEW is really close. They've got a lot of good stuff that I'm just like, this is interesting. So here's my thing with AEW. So AEW was one of those, when they first announced the show, when they first announced whatever, of course the internet blew up because they're like, oh, they're going to take WWE out of business.
Yeah.
I was like, they have a long way to go before they're close to WWE status.
Yeah.
And I never hated them. I never sat back and going, oh, they're going to mess up. They're going to fail. My thing was, we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
So the first season of AEW, I was not watching, and it wasn't because, oh, it's not going to be any good. It was simply, I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to keep up on it. I tried to watch a little bit here and there. I just did not have time. But then I started watching some of the stuff they were throwing on YouTube. Because they have you know, Dynamite, and then they have AEW Dark on YouTube, which is basically a bunch of dark matches, which is cool. And so I started watching that a little bit, and I was seeing some fantastic wrestling and some awesome characters and some storylines, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty interesting. So I started watching Dynamite, and I was like, okay, cool. And I really just got hooked. Like, you know, they're doing some great stuff. So, but you know, honestly, and I keep up with Raw, I keep up with SmackDown. SmackDown, I probably watch the least, and I don't know why. It's just, I try to watch it, and I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't. Sometimes it really sometimes it really is awesome, and sometimes I feel like I'm just watching, you know, something I saw last week. Like, oh, these are the same matches from the week before. But NXT, that has been on fire for a solid 5 years at least. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, I like NXT. Yeah, I do like NXT the most as well. But then I like SmackDown a little. I like SmackDown too. I know SmackDown got stepped up a lot more better to me though.
Yeah.
And Raw, I wasn't feeling Raw, but Raw stepped up a lot more better lately when Paul Heyman was in charge of Raw, but now he's not in charge no more. But
yeah, I mean, so here's what bugs me is when you have people, oh, Vince is too old, he needs to leave. I'm like, you do realize Vince is one part of the whole thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, he's the head honcho, so he kind of does have final say so, but you have the performers, you have the writers, you have, you know, whoever to make it good. And let's be honest, like Vince McMahon has taken a small company and made it a global phenomenon.
Yeah, he
To the
did.
point where when you think of WWE, or like when you think of professional wrestling, the first thing you think of is WWE.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we need to stop like throwing dirt on his name, because he's amazing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, Triple H is killing it with NXT. But again,
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is. Like, I don't know the behind the scenes politics on what goes on. You know, because you have to also understand with Raw and SmackDown, you have different boundaries because they're on a network, right? Because
Yeah.
of who is in charge. You know, they might have the network or the, you know, saying, hey, you can't do this, you can do that. Whereas NXT, they might have some more freedom. I don't know.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Yeah.
I get so fed up when people are like, oh, Vince McMahon's too old, he doesn't know what's good and what's bad. And I'm like, wrestling's been the same forever. You know what I mean? Like, the old school wrestling tricks that hooked you as a kid, they still hook us now.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, and this is just based on the little that I know. If you spoke to a wrestler who's been there and done that, they're gonna have a totally different point of view.
True. And I do actually watch AEW from here to there. I mean, they do got to grow on me a lot more. I mean, I try to watch it. They got to grow on me a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't hate them, but they just gotta like grow on me a lot more. And I do watch Impact as well. Impact is shockingly kind of interested, low key. I think everybody tried to say Impact is not good, but Impact is low key interesting.
Yeah, I have not kept up with that literally in probably 3 or 4 years. Again, it's only because I only have so much time in the day to
Yeah,
dedicate to wrestling. So I'm like, something's got to go.
true.
But I mean, and there's also been shows like Lucha Underground,
Oh,
which I don't
yeah.
think is around anymore.
Nah, yeah, I mean, I used to watch that for a
And
little
I
bit. I used to watch it for a little bit.
Yeah, but like that was one of those that I was like, yo, the vignettes that they would put out, because they would shoot it like a movie.
Yeah,
I was like, this is cool. And there was some things that I was like, I don't understand, but it's fine, you know. But the storytelling they were doing, I thought was really interesting.
yeah.
I'm kind of sad. I don't know what happened. I guess I don't know if they won't get, I don't know why it's, you know, no longer a thing. It doesn't seem to be, at least.
Yeah,
But it got, you know, it was super interesting.
it was.
but,
It was.
You know,
It was. All right, so with no sports going on at the moment, even though NBA is coming back and MLB is coming back, and NASCAR is going on now, how did wrestling, AEW and WWE help you during this pandemic?
oh my gosh, it gave me something. You know, wrestling, you know, just like it always does, it's always given me something to kind of take me away for a moment. So, you know, when I get the opportunity, I never get to watch wrestling live. I'm usually working, or because I work at night, I'm usually either working or, you know, spending the few moments that I am home, you know, with family, because, you know, that's number one.
Of course.
So I'll watch wrestling, you know, the next day or whatever. Or I'll stay up late, you know, after my wife goes to bed. I'll stay up, try to watch, you know, whatever. So yeah, I never get to watch it live, but when I do, it just allows me to just forget about it for a moment. You know, just kind of get immersed in the show, get immersed in what's going on. My thing is I'm not a huge sports guy to begin with. I like basketball. I watch it on occasion. I wish I watched it more. It's just, again, I love movies and TV, and I love to binge watch like my favorite TV shows. So I'm like, yeah, again, I can only spend so much time watching TV, and I'd rather watch, I don't watch a whole lot of sports, so that hasn't really affected me. But I know my dad's losing his marbles because he loves.
Trust me, my father too. Father too. Trust me.
my dad loves baseball and football, and he doesn't really watch basketball, but he loves, so he's losing his ever loving. So.
Trust me, my father's the same way, and he be upset when I watch wrestling. And he like, oh man, wrestling, oh man. He wish basketball's on, but good thing is he should be happy now. Basketball's coming back, and baseball's coming back as well. All right, so how do you feel about watching wrestling with no crowd? And when do you think an actual crowd is coming back?
Well, the whole no crowd thing, it was really strange. I did not know how to take this. I'm used to the yelling and the screaming and the after a while it kind of grew on me. After a while I was like, okay, like I'm okay. It still was strange, but I like the fact that with most, especially WWE and NXT, you would hear more vocalization.
Yeah, I agree.
From the individuals in the ring, and I believe they did that intentionally because, like, if because wrestling, they're so used to hiding the conversation between each other, unless you're Kevin Owens, who that dude don't shut up in the ring. But which I love, I would not shoot. He's a bad guy. Let him talk as much nonsense in the ring. I don't care if it even makes sense. Let him yell, scream, whatever. I love it. It's the biggest heel thing to do. But I kind of like what they've been doing recently, where it's like, hey, we're at the performance center. In the quote unquote audience is people who work at the performance center, up and coming wrestlers or whoever. I kind of like that, but I can't wait for a live audience.
Me too.
Because it doesn't matter if it's NXT, Raw, SmackDown, AEW, whatever it is. When the live component comes back, those audience members are going to be more hype. It's gonna be the legend of like the Raw after Mania, how they're just off the wall crazy. It's gonna be like that for months.
Like it'll be like that for a long while. I agree.
A long time, because they're gonna be like, we have missed you guys. Oh my god! And imagine the live shows, like the shows we don't get to see, that they're not doing right now, where the wrestlers have more freedom anyway. You know what I mean? Those wrestlers are gonna blow the roof off the place simply because they can, and there's an audience there to do so.
True. I can't wait for that. But I know one thing. I love that with no crowd. But I feel like everybody stepped up the game with the promos when there's no crowd. But
I feel like you had to, because if you have a crappy promo with no audience, I'm gonna lose interest.
Agree. Yeah, but everybody had to step up the game. But I can't wait for the crowd to come back. I wanna see the energy with certain wrestlers that there now and how they're gonna react when they there. So, if you wanted to meet a wrestler, who would that be?
Undertaker.
Of course.
I'm not even gonna like Undertaker, The Rock, like that's it. Honestly, on the real, like those are the two that I would love to meet. Again, I would love to meet like Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
There's not a wrestler I would not want to meet.
Yeah.
The Miz would probably be the closest thing to one I'm like, I don't want to meet. But even him, like, he's dedicated to his craft. So if I met him, I'm sure he would be the biggest heel and just treat me like garbage, and I'd be totally fine with it. But yeah, I mean, but if I met the Undertaker, I'm pretty sure I would just that'd be it. I'm going home. I'm journaling this. I'm doing something. I'm gonna find a way to make sure it lives forever.
Yeah, I remember one time when I was a kid, my father took me to the spot that they had in New York called WWE or WWF New York. It was a restaurant where wrestlers come in, and I was just there when I was just there eating something. We were waiting to eat, and one day somebody picked me up. A wrestler picked me up. My sister was like, "Oh my god, he picked you up!" And I was like, "Who was that?" And it turned out it was Al Snow, who picked me up at a random. He does the "Hey kid," and then picked me up and then walk away. I was like, "What?"
Okay,
yeah,
that's cool. Because Al Snow, like, I remember him growing up. Like, I remember watching him, and I thought he was good, but I never understood how great he was until now. I'm like, oh, dude, he's really intelligent when it comes to wrestling.
He is.
Like, but again, like as a kid, you just want to see the impact stuff. You just want to see the heavy wrestling matches.
Bro.
You don't really want to see two dudes actually wrestling in the middle of the ring. You know what I mean? You don't want to see a bunch of grapples and submissions. You want to see a dude getting launched off a 40-foot ladder through 7 tables for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like a lot of extreme stuff, like table ladders and chairs and stuff like that. Yeah. All right. So, what do you have to say for anybody who going the same route as you, as in like the podcast and you getting saved and stuff like that?
Stick with it. Like if you going back to my journey with God and everything that I've kind of learned, there's a lot of time, especially in a time like right now, where every day is an up and down, where one minute you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on the positive, I'm gonna focus on my relationship with God, and then oh man, like this is rough because I'm not working or whatever because of the pandemic. Keep focused, keep working on it. If you and your relationship with God, like put people in your life who can kind of guide you, you know what I mean, who are older, who can kind of walk with you and be like, look, I've been through some stuff, let me kind of walk you through some show you what to do. Don't lose that hope, you know what I mean? Like and when it comes to the podcasting thing, straight up, it's the same thing. Like if keep at it. Even if you're like, oh well, this episode got 5 plays, but the one I did before had 50, 60 plays, what did I do wrong? You probably didn't do anything wrong. Just keep going. You know what I mean? Because that's happened to me a couple times where like I'll go on a streak where a couple of my episodes will hit what I feel like is a pretty good number. Right? So, and then I'll put out a couple episodes where they get 3 plays, and I'm like, what happened? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then I keep putting out episodes, and then the ones that got hit with 2, 3, 4, 5 plays, all of a sudden have a better, they're getting more. And I'm like, okay, maybe people took a break for a minute, or I don't know, whatever. But see, my thing with podcasting is I'm not trying to be like every episode needs thousands of plays, right? Like I'm going to be completely transparent. I think my most downloaded episode is somewhere in the realm of like 50 to 60 downloads, right? Most of my episodes, they get about 15, and I'm okay with that. Like, cool. If the people who are involved, who are listening, if you're actually sitting there and listening, cool. I don't care if it's 10, as long as it's engaging to the people who are, you know what I mean, who are engaged. Because I would rather, because again, we can't, at least from my point of view, I can't tell if you're actually listening to the episode like all the way through, or if you're like clicking on it, letting it start to play, because that still would count as a play. And then, I'm gonna shut it off. I just doing him a favor, you know what I mean, or whatever. I don't know either way. So I would much rather have less people engaged, but they're actually engaged, as opposed to, I got 1,000 downloads on this one episode, but I don't know if they're 1,000 legitimate downloads or dudes just hitting play, turning it off, and walking out. So because I'm that way. You know what I mean? With the co-op, like there's certain podcasts that like, hey, I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
Yeah.
I download it, but I just haven't had a chance to listen to it. And then there's some that I'm like, man, if I'm gonna listen to it, I'm gonna listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean? So for me, it just, you know, I'm not worried about the numbers, and that would be another area where I'm like, yo, if you're worried about your numbers, do what you can to network, to get to know people.
Yeah.
But focus on stuff that you enjoy, and eventually I think that audience will find you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I still feel like I'm building my audience, but I'm more focused on, okay, are the episodes we're putting out good to my standards?
Yeah.
You know, or am I just rambling about current events? I don't want to talk about current events. You know what I mean? Like, I want to talk about things of substance. And especially since my podcast does have that faith aspect to it. Some people are gonna see that and are automatically just, nope, sorry, dude. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm not, no, that's no sweat off my back. That's cool. You know, but for the people who are like, yo, I like the way this guy analyzes things or talks about things, I'm gonna keep listening. You know, I appreciate that support. So yeah.
All right, deep. Well, you already know, Anthony, thank you for coming on the show. You already know your podcast is amazing. You know, I listen to your podcast all the time. You know, like I said, you and your wife is killing it. Keep doing your thing, and you know, drop all your information so everybody can reach you. Huh?
Absolutely. So, like I said, you could hit me up, beautifulfeetentertainment.com. So you can find short stories there. You could find I do like articles and stuff. I don't update that as much as I should, so I really need to like jump on that. But the podcast is always up there. You can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter. Just type in Beautiful Feet Entertainment. I mean, it will pop up. The handles are slightly different, but just put that in there. You could also put my name, Anthony Giesick, Giesick, and you'll find it. Yeah, I mean, and we do encourage people to, like, if they have questions from a biblical standpoint, you know, hit us up. You know, obviously be respectful, be genuine, but if you have questions or if you don't agree or whatever, respectfully hit us up, and we'll do our best to answer, or whatever. So yeah.
All right. Also, I gotta come to your show one day too. We gotta do a crossover when I come to your show as well.
Oh, so here's my thing, right? Yeah, we would love to have you on, especially knowing, that you recently have reconnected with God, and there we go.
Yeah.
We have things to talk about, and of course we'll talk about wrestling because I can't help it.
Of course, me too. I got to talk about my side of what I like on the wrestling side and stuff like that when I come over there.
Oh, 100. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so we're gonna make that happen. And once again, thank you for coming to the show, Anthony, and we'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman. Now, I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spinoff Series Thursdays. And Spinoff Series Thursday is the new home for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spinoff Series. That brought to you shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, The Old School Show, and Date Night Talk Podcast. And A Conversation About Music podcast is a music spin-off series where we talk about anything music, from the current music scene and the old school music scene, where we interview many guests that's in the music industry and artists about their music journey. We have a segment game called The Face Off, which is a versus inspired game. And we have roundtable discussion about variety of music topics. And y'all can check out A Conversation About Music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, the old school show that featured myself and the star Roddy Rod is a show where we discuss anything old school, from music, TV shows, movies, and many more. We also bring in guests to join in on the old school conversation. Y'all can check out the old school show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And last but not least, we have Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B, where we talk about anything relationship related topics like love, dating, relationships, cheating, the good and the bad, and many more. And y'all can check out this spin-off series, Date Night Talk podcast, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So look out for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents spin-off series Thursday, A Conversation About Music podcast every first Thursdays. The old school show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursdays, and Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays. And y'all can check out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. And thank y'all for checking out this commercial break. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. True!
I just want to take the time and thank everybody for tuning into the new episode. Thank you to my brother Anthony from the Beautiful Feet podcast. Please check out his podcast. Shout out to him and his wife. His podcast is amazing, you know. And also check me out on his show in the near future. So look out for that. And if y'all haven't yet, check out the Remember podcast with myself, Mr. Aaron Sands, and DJ Retro each and every Friday. Even though NYC is open back up, the spots are not open back up yet. So check out my team, YPG, wants to open back up each and every Friday at Catcher, 217 Bay Street, say premiere at the door. And each and every Saturday, Backside Party at Taj, 48 Way 21st Street, 5th and 6th, say premiere at the door. Y'all probably wondering why I say my team now instead of me handling these spots. Well, I do got a big announcement about that, but when it's the right time, I will announce it on a later episode. So, yeah, I will bring up this topic again in a later episode. But if y'all want to be a special guest on my show, y'all could DM me on my IG or all social media platform, Ken_Mr. Gentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken _Mr. MR Gentleman, GENTLEMAN. You know, I'm looking for special guests, you know, for my show, or special guests for my segments. You know, for Date Night Talk, I need ladies who are single or taken, who is willing to talk about their love life, or talk about, you know, any relationship topics, related topics. Or y'all to be on my new segment that will be premiering soon on Mr. Jim Like the Podcast, the Music is Life segment with, my co-host will be DJ Retro. Or you could be special guests on me and Mr. Aaron Sands' wrestling show, the big pay-per-view wrestling show, prediction show. Our next pay-per-view will most likely be SummerSlam. So if y'all want to be on that, let me know. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in to the new episode, and have a good night.
This is Anthony from the Beautiful Feet Podcast, and you're listening to the Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to this amazing show. Enjoy.